We'd like to welcome everyone to our 5-year birthday party. 5 years ago, we had the ribbon cutting here, and since then we have had untold thousands of visitors from all over the world and every state in the United States. And we got one guy here today, came all the way from England to be with us. At this time, I'd like to recognize the people that helped make this center possible. If all the board members here would raise their hand and you all give them a sign of thanks. Another important group of people that keeps this thing running and does a lot of work and a lot of extra work are our volunteers. And if you all need a job, I can sign you up. Would the volunteers raise their hand and be recognized? At this time, I'll ask one of our board members, John H., as I call him, so he doesn't get confused with me, to recognize any dignitaries.
Great. We have a few with us today. I just wanted to recognize Julie Schreiner with Congressman Eli Crane's office. And of course, our Mayor Phil Good is here to say a few words in a minute. Are there any other dignitaries out there that we've missed? Any elected officials or folks that are hiding in back? If so, please just raise your hand. We appreciate everyone's support today. Back to you.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to introduce someone who has been a supporter of the center, our mayor, Mr. Good.
Thank you, John. You know, I think it's a real honor to address you and the volunteers and your dedicated staff on this 5th anniversary of the Granite Mountain Interagency Hotshot Crew Tribute and Learning Center. I think it took me 5 years to be able to say that without stopping. But tomorrow does mark the 10th anniversary of the unfathomable loss of those 19 young men in a few hellish minutes on Yarnell Hill. Nearly everyone who was here then either knew one or more of those 19 or their family or their friends, and that's why it had such a broad, powerful impact on our community. Those types of losses are so incredibly painful when they happen individually with maybe our own families or friends, but when they happen to this magnitude, it's really hard to even deal with. And I think the recognition of the impact of that loss is demonstrated here in this Learning and Tribute Center. We have all those mementos that were put on the fence over there on 6th Street where the Station 7 was for the hotshots to train and deploy. And they've all been collected here in a rotating display. We've got T-shirts from every state in the nation and all over the world. We've got T-shirts from Israel, a volunteer firefighting company in Iraq, Canada, New England, not New England, the United Kingdom. So it just shows you the massive impact of what happened here. But it is something that 10 years seems like a long time, but quite frankly, it really isn't. For those people that were directly affected and the families, probably seems just like yesterday. But it does have a tendency to soften the pain over time, and hopefully the love that we've all felt and the families felt for each one of these can be replaced with fonder memories And I think this tribute center gives an opportunity for visitors and residents to be able to experience what happened. And let's keep in mind that this is a learning and tribute center. So we're here to learn the lessons that were found during this tragedy, to understand the risks that wildland firefighting creates, to be better prepared to deal with the threats. And when we have another wildfire, we're going to be better prepared to treat it and keep our community safe. Just last year when we had the Crooks fire, our community was also threatened. But we had incident commanders that came out of other states to work with us, and we found out that they complimented us on probably the most well-coordinated, cooperative group of firefighters that were able to work together and keep our community from being threatened. So I think having this type of tribute center and all of John's dedicated volunteers is something that we have to continue to support. And let's keep in mind that we're talking about the Interagency Hotshot crew. That crew consisted of 20 members, 19 of which were lost, and one of which was spared, Brendan McDonough. So because, that's your So because he followed orders as he was told, and he was spared being included in this group, it just goes to show you that anybody who signs up to put themselves in harm's way, whether it's in the military or our first responders or our police and fire, ambulance, all those other great people that keep us safe, know that they're taking a high-risk position. And they train hard to make sure that things don't happen. But in this case they did, and I think we've learned a lot from them. So I want to make sure that you all realize what a tremendous value this facility is. And I want to compliment the new owners of the mall that are re-energizing and reinvesting in this mall so more visitors will be able to come and visit this tribute center. Again, the dedicated volunteers that help staff it. And since they're all volunteering, they don't get paid anything, I think I'm going to try to see if I can get them a 20% raise. Maybe even 50. But, you know, being that as it may, I just want to make sure that you all realize in order to keep this going, this is not free. Ask your friends and family to come and visit, buy some of the material and mementos they have here, volunteer your time and your treasure, donate to it so we can keep it operating and maybe even have it open more frequently and longer hours. So with that said, John, thank you very much. Thank you to all the volunteers, and I appreciate the opportunity to support this great center and make sure it continues. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Good. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Fire Chief of the Prescott Fire Department. I may not get his name correct. We call him Chief H. It's easy. Chief Dura. He's only been here a short time, but he's been working like he's been here 10 years.
All right, this is such a welcome moment in a lot of difficult feelings and difficult emotions, and I'll get to the end of that just a second because we're here to celebrate the 5th birthday of this incredible place. But we're also coming up on the 10th commemoration of something that shaped this community forever and shaped this nation forever. And the question that naturally comes up with that is what happens now? What happens on 10-year plus one day? Well, the good news is that when I get asked a lot of what's happened since the tragedy, what's been learned, what's been integrated, and sure, there's been a lot of changes with policies and a lot of great learning that's happened to make sure that we integrate the lessons that we learned that day. But the thing that really matters the most has not changed in this community. So one of the things I think we really need to focus on as we think about and we reflect right now as to what's happening is, let's talk about the community to start. This is such a close-knit community, and sometimes the fire department and the families, we sort of get put out front. But our tragedy is your tragedy. Our loss is your loss. This is a shared experience, and that's what makes Prescott so unique. So what happens now is we're going to continue to build community, and we're going to continue to support each other. And one of the lessons in that that's integrated into our department every day is that we treat each other just a little bit kinder. We try just a little bit harder, and we appreciate and show the gratitude that we have for what we're given every day. To the American Fire Service, and especially the Arizona Fire Service, many of the members are here today. We're planning an event tomorrow. That doesn't happen just on our own. So to that fire service, I say thank you for being there for us constantly, not just 10 years ago, but every day since. We will be there for you. That's what's going to happen now. We're going to support you. Our families are going to support you if, God forbid, that ever happens to you. As far as the state and the city of, or town of Yarnell, right? That word now has meaning outside the boundaries of the United States. That's notoriety that little community never wanted. And if you know many of the community members down there, that's the last thing they want. They live in Yarnell for a reason, right? Well, what's going to happen now is we're going to continue to have a bond with that community, and we're going to continue to support them and help them as well, because there were homes that were lost, there were lives that were forever changed in that community as well. And of course, to the families, most importantly, as well as to our brother Brendan. We are going to continue to be there. And as those needs evolve, we're going to evolve with them. And we're going to continue to support them the way we always have. That's, I think, one of the good legacies that this community should be so proud of in this immeasurable tragedy, that we continue to do something right. And that's kind of how I want to finish my comments off, is the place behind us is incredible. It is absolutely incredible. We're going to celebrate one of the people that was very influential in getting this started in just a second. We'll, save the anticipation for that. However, just a quick story. A couple of months ago, the Angeles National Forest and Los Angeles County Fire Department came to do one of their preseason leadership retreats in Prescott. They did a staff ride in Yarnell, and then they had some meetings in Prescott, and they contacted us and said, could we see the center? So we brought them here, and Dennis Bushell, who's somewhere around here, he's standing here, he's one of the board members. Of course, everybody came and said, absolutely, we'll open the doors. There's 40 people of significantly large fire service agencies, and they were dumbfounded. They were forever changed. They said, we cannot believe what you guys did. This is a best in the nation type of tribute. That's what Prescott has, and I think we sometimes forget that, because, hey, we're the city of Prescott. We just kind of Prescott up and do things, the way we think. Right. This is world-class, people. We should be proud of this. Out of this significant tragedy, what we have here is a community treasure, and I can't agree with Mayor Moore. We've got to lean in and support this place, because it is something that not only helps us, but helps the rest of the nation remember. So with that, thank you for being here, and John, back to you, sir.
Thank you, Chief, for all you've done and all you will do. At this time, I'd like to introduce a person who is known by many. A very simple introduction. Granite Mountain Hotshot, Brendan McDonough.
It's a hard speech to follow up because it comes from the heart. Start with a little bit of laughter, because I think that's important. Chief asked me a few days ago, he said, hey, feel free to wear whatever you want, and, if you want to wear your greens or a shirt or a suit. And I said, Chief, I'd love to wear my old crew shirt, but I don't know if I'm going to fit, so I could say a decade later, I still think I make this look good. So, yeah. Anyways, on to more serious things. And first and foremost, just a huge thank you to the Tribute Center, the board members, and the volunteers. When you lose somebody on a level like this, and even as an individual level, a family member, The greatest fear you have is that they're forgotten, right? That their legacy, the lessons, when we think of family members that we lose, and you think of your grandmother's recipe that's been passed down from generation to generation of how to bake something, or how to make something, or how to open your home to a family. I think of 19 individual men that have had multiple legacies of moral character and fiber that is passed down through generations. And this tribute center emulates that, right? And that's not just these 19 men, and it's the men and women who fight fire across our country and our nation, that we all have these similar characteristics that are remembered and honored here. And it takes a lot to run a nonprofit. It takes a lot to keep this place open. But like Chief said, we've had firefighters from all over the country, all over the world, come visit Prescott to learn, to honor, to pay their respects. And, for me personally, that is so refreshing, and it's a relief to know that my brothers will never be forgotten by this community, by those who love them, by those who never had the opportunity to meet them, but by those who choose to live like them, right? And what does that mean, to live like them? That means to live a life that is selfless and of in service of others. And so today, what I asked during this week and this month, what's been on my mind is just trying to celebrate these men and what they live for, right? They live to be service to their community. They live to be fathers, husbands, sons, brothers, right? And all those things. And they live to be selfless. And they live to love others. And we can't make sacrifices like they made with love, compassion. That doesn't come out of anger or any of those things that we don't like to express, right? It comes from love and care. And so if I had one ask, I'll have two though, but if I had one ask, it would be first to live like my brothers and love each other and be selfless in how we serve, right? Open the door, be kind, be courteous, be generous, right? We live in a society that is so fast forward moving. Just to take a minute just to say, hey, how you doing? Hey, just to let you know you're loved. And my second ask would be that you support the Tribute Center in everything that it does, because it has an impact on generations to come. It not just has an impact on my brother's legacy, but how we're trying to build men and women that are of service to our country, that are willing to make a great sacrifice, and it's no amazing opportunity to do so than to be able to support a center like this. It carries their legacy, and it helps build stronger community and stronger connections. So, with that being said, I am grateful for everyone that is here. I know there's men and women that have traveled from all over the country. There's men here today that were here 10 years ago when we buried my brothers. They've been in contact since then. There's family members here today. There's community members. The media's here. We have public officials as well. So I'm just full of gratitude during this time. As somber as it is the grief is here, I feel love and compassion, and that's known. And that's been felt since the day this happened. Everyone has played such a tremendous role in my healing and many others. Such a powerful role in why we stand here today. And for that, I can never repay that. So I'm very honored and very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Brendan. You wear that shirt well. My son would never give me one because he said I had to earn it. This time I'd like to ask Chief Dennis Slide if he would come forward. Years ago, there was a group of about 50 people called together by the chief, and out of that group became the board of directors and eventually this center. And so all you had to do is say, Chief Light, he makes it happen. Also, too, not too long ago, I said, wouldn't it be nice if we had Highway 89, a memorial highway? Chief made it happen. And then I said, wouldn't it be nice if we had a historical marker down at the old Station 7? Chief made it happen. By the way, Chief, I could use a new car. What do you think you could do that?
I've seen what you're driving.
At this time, we'd like to call one of our board members, Dan Russell, if he would come up and make a presentation to the Chief. This is a scrapbook we put together in case a few years from now he forgets what he did. At this time, I'd like to ask Chief H and Board Member Dennis Michelle if he would come up, and they have a presentation to make.
All right, so I mentioned that there was a little presentation going on here. So the gentleman that's standing behind me does not like public recognition. I promised I would make it as painless as I possibly could. However, I got to say a few things first. So, we've done a lot in this fire department over the last year. There is a reason why that is, and that is because there was a gentleman that was here for a long time doing some significantly hard work. The vision that was behind this center is part of that work. There is no book for what you do when something like that happens, and he got to write the book on that. This is something that I want to express my personal gratitude for. I know, when he left, he kind of did it on his own terms and sort of snuck out the back door. But with that, for his absolutely influential role in making this center happen and many of the other things that John just mentioned, in an innumerable number of things that haven't been mentioned, we want to present you with the fitting tool of Pulaski with your name engraved on it, and we will also get you another inscription on that later on. So thank you, Chief, you did for the center and the
The nice thing is I get to be really brief today because I'm not wearing a dark suit and cooking as much as I once did. A little bit real quick on the backstory. We had 2 citizens come to City Hall back in April. I believe it was 17. And there was a lot of work that preserved the accession listing of all the materials that are in here, done way before that. As the fence was taken down shortly after the tragedy, all the items were accessioned, documented, recorded as to where they were at the time. 2 ladies came to me by way of former Councilwoman Wilcox. We met in April. The backstory is we had a stakeholders group in August, and 10 months later, we had the grand opening of the center, which for somebody that's been in government for 44 years and 8 months up until 2 years ago, that happened pretty dang fast. And for that, there's a lot of fingerprints on the knife, as I used to say, from the members of the Prescott Fire Department, the impetus for the center, which was the loss of the 19, Brendan, the citizens of this community, and the citizens of this nation, and the world for that matter. With that, John, board members, thank you very much. I'm very humbled. I want to get out of here. And if anybody wants to know, this is the first time I've worn a collared shirt and long trousers since April 15th, since we're measuring up whether it fits or not, and it still fits, so that's a good thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. He's been a great part in getting this center going. And talking about visitors from all over the world, last week we had 5 photographers from Poland in here for about an hour, so the word's getting around. I'd like to thank each of you for your attendance today. Please stay with us. Immediately we will have pipes and drum performance. After they perform, the Granite Mountain Winter Guard drill team will be performing right down here behind you, and we ask you to stay and enjoy this. And after that, you can have some birthday cake. So appreciate you coming for our birthday, our 5-year opening of the center. And thank you all.
Thank you everybody for being here. So this band is made up of our local band, plus members from all over the state, fire departments from all over the state of Arizona. And I know it sounds cliche, but it really is our honor to come here every year and do this. Play for the guys and their families, the Tribute Center. So what the pipe band is about is not only marking when we lose someone we love and recognizing that, but also celebrating the lives that they led. So this next tune is all about that. The first part is about marking the passing of our loved ones, and the second half is about celebrating who they were and continuing that on forward. If you have a hat, please take it off. Thank you, everybody, and God bless. Pipes and drums, Balmore, report.